First off, what was it like to get drafted? I mean, tell me about that moment and how it felt.
Yeah, honestly, it was something that I had dreamed of for quite some time. And it wasn't the traditional way of doing things since they had moved things to virtual with the pandemic still going on, obviously. But it was still a great experience nonetheless. My parents were both able to be there, and then my brother and my grandma. So it was a pretty special moment for all of us.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And like you said, it a little different, but leading up to the draft, did you know where you were going to fall? Did you know where you're going to get drafted? Do you have an idea of that?
Yeah, I had an idea. I was in talks with a couple of teams throughout the draft process, just leading up to it, but you just never know what's going to happen on the actual draft day. So I wasn't 100% sure on where I was going to land, but I had a pretty good idea. So I was excited when my name got called and I was going to Kansas City.
Absolutely. Was Kansas City one of the teams that you were kind of hoping you'd fall to?
Honestly, I was happy to go anywhere. And it was just a really cool experience to be talking with any team at the time because it's just something that you can only dream of until it actually happens. So I would have been blessed to go anywhere, and Kansas City seems to be the right fit for me, and I'm ready to get started.
Yeah, I mean, to go off of that, it does. This is a team that needs a goal scorer, and you're obviously a great goal scorer. So, how excited are you to get started and give your talents to Kansas City?
Yeah, honestly, I'm just excited to get there and learn from the vets. I'm new to the league and I'm going to
Mhm.
be the rookie and I'm going to be starting all over again. So it's going to be a little bit different than in college when I was the fifth year senior and I felt like the oldest one there. So I'm just excited to get there, learn from everybody, and put my best foot forward and do whatever I can to help the team.
Is it kind of nice that you'll have somebody to be a rookie along with that you sort of know? I mean, in Chardonnay, Coran, I mean, you guys played against each other in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of a rivalry there between the Ducks and the Cougs, but it'll always be go Cougs. And it's nice to have another Pac-12 player on the team with me. So we'll have something to relate to. We're actually going to be roommates when I first get there. So there will be a lot of talk, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be plenty of bragging, especially
Yeah,
after the
I
game
hate to
you
say,
guys
but we
had.
did. Yeah, we did beat them pretty much I think every year that I was there. I actually think I scored on the Ducks almost every year that I was at Washington State.
Yeah, and I know this last season it was a thriller. I think you scored the game-winning goal kind of at the end.
Yeah, that's actually how it happened for the past couple of years. I think in like this late 70th minute or 88th minute, like it was this past year, but exciting games nonetheless.
Absolutely. And I mean, for you, like you said, this was a dream of yours for a while. Obviously, being a D1 athlete, you know there's a possibility, but do you feel like there was a moment during your collegiate career where you kind of realized, like, all right, I'm on the right track to being a professional player?
Yeah, honestly, I think that my soccer career has been a whirlwind, and I wasn't really considering playing professionally until I had decided not to go to grad school my official senior year. So that senior year, I was applying to physician assistant school, and that was kind of my plan. And then I went through the interview process and realized that it just kind of wasn't what I wanted to do. It just wasn't seeming like the right path for me to go down anymore. And that's when I decided to come back to Washington State for my fifth year of soccer, which is when I probably had my best year of soccer ever. So I think that it was probably my fifth year that I kind of realized I wanted to continue playing. I was just having so much fun and it was just different from any other year in the past. So I would probably say my fifth year was when I realized that I wanted to keep playing and had the potential to keep playing.
Absolutely. And I mean, like you said, you felt like you were the oldest out on the field. I mean, what was that like to be the leader and to have so much experience coming back to help this team have one of the best seasons the Cougars have ever had?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like just my experience lended to leadership and it was just a really fun season. Honestly, I feel like the team meshed well and we had good chemistry on and off the field. So it was just a lot of fun to play, which I feel like sparked my joy to continue playing soccer. So I think that had I not come back for my fifth year, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And I think that everything just happens for a reason. So this past year was a lot for me, learning wise, and just a lot of fun.
Absolutely. You said that one of the big reasons was you did the interviews for your grad year and it just didn't feel right. Was there anything else that was kind of pushing you back towards soccer and deciding to come back?
Yeah, honestly, I was going through so many emotions when we realized that we weren't going to be able to play our fall season my senior year. And I feel like that's when I kind of sat down with myself and just really thought about whether I was ready to hang up the cleats for good. And I feel like I was only so emotional because I knew that my journey was coming to an end. And I think that's when I realized that I didn't want to give it up yet. And
Mhm.
so I think that I don't know. I lean on God a lot, and I feel like that was just kind of the path he was pushing me down. And I think that it led me here. So I decided to trust in my faith. And I feel like everything, once again, happens for a reason.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it has. And to go from realizing that your career might be ending soon with college, and now you have this brand new professional career. I mean, how exciting is that, and how invigorating is it to have this kind of like fresh start in a whole new
Yeah,
chapter?
I think that's what I'm most excited for. I am not huge on change. It's hard for me to endure change. I like sticking to my routine, but I'm super excited for this change actually for probably the first time in my life, aside from when I went to Washington State. That was another change that I was super excited for. So I think it's just another step in my life journey. And I know I'm going to learn a lot about myself here in Kansas City, just like I did in Pullman. So both on and off the field, I'm excited for where life's going to take me.
Absolutely. And I know you dealt with an injury earlier in your career at Washington State, and then to deal with the fact that you weren't going to be able to play your normal senior year. How did you kind of get through those ups and downs that come with a career like yours?
Yeah, so I actually endured my first major injury in high school. My last year of club, my senior year, I had tore my first ACL.
Mhm.
And then when when I was at Washington State, I tore my other ACL my sophomore year. So when it happened at Washington State, I had already kind of been through those emotions before and I knew the process. Not that it was any easier or any better when it happened the second time, but at
Mhm.
least I was more prepared for it and I had an idea of what was going to happen and what it was going to take for me to get back on the field. Whereas my first time going through it in high school, I was just about to leave for college and there was just this huge new obstacle in the way. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how I was going to come back or if I was going to play the same way. So I think that that was the biggest scare for me the first time it happened. But I just think with any injury, it's all about how you do things mentally, because I personally feel like the mental side of things with injuries is more difficult than dealing with the physical side. And I've just once again learned a lot about myself through both injuries. And I feel like it made me who I am and it made me appreciate the game a lot more. So both of them were really unfortunate, but I feel like I learned a lot through both.
It sounds like you have. And I mean, going into your style of play and your talent, I know the speed is a big part. Everybody talks about that, but how do you feel you partner your speed with then just the natural talents you have with the ball at your feet, distributing and also finding, the back of the net?
Yeah, I feel like obviously my speed has been very helpful in my career all the way up until now. I think in this past year, what made me feel so good on the field in my super senior year was my strength. And I've always been pretty strong, but this past offseason going into my fifth year, I really focused on strength training and just staying in the weight room alongside of maintaining my endurance. And I feel like that's kind of what set me apart this past year because I just felt so much stronger on the ball and I made it very difficult for people to get the ball from me. And that just ultimately made me more confident in not turning the ball over and being able to just maintain possession. So I feel like that's probably the biggest thing that has changed in my game. And I know I'll continue to grow in. So once again, I'm just excited to see where my game's going to go. I've only been playing soccer for 5 or 6 years now. So I haven't even hit my ceiling. And I'm just excited to learn from these coaches and the players around me and take my game to the next level.
I mean, going off of that, then how'd you first get into soccer and why the change and choosing to play that sport?
Yeah. So my parents were both very athletically gifted, and both my brother and I relied on sports a lot while we were growing up, but my parents never put any pressure on us to play a specific sport. So when I was in middle school, I pretty much experienced with every sport that you possibly could. I did volleyball, basketball, track, soccer. I did cheerleading and gymnastics. I did pretty much every sport on the planet Earth to figure out what I actually wanted to do with my life. And it came down to track or soccer in high school. And I just realized that I kind of wanted to be a part of a team sport more than an individual sport. I just felt like it gave me more satisfaction and stuff. So I kind of went with soccer. I played soccer for a small club team in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And then I realized that I wasn't going to get the exposure I needed or become the best player I could be with that club. So I decided to go to an ECNL team in Milwaukee, which is about 2 hours from my hometown. So
Mhm.
it was a huge commitment, but it led me to where I'm at now. So it was a journey to get here, but I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, what motivated you to put in all the work to kind of play a little bit of catch up and get to the level that you were at to have colleges want to reach out to you and give you a scholarship?
Yeah, I think that just goes down to my morals and kind of how my parents just ingrained me to be. And I've always been super hardworking and always had to fight for what I wanted.
Mhm.
And I realized that if I wanted to play in college, I was going to have to become a better player and I was going to have to go through some hoops to catch up to players who had been playing for 7 to 8 years longer than I had.
Mhm.
So I feel like that just came down to dedication and knowing where I wanted to be. And my end goal was to play a sport in college. And I feel like I did what I had to do to get to where I'm at.
Yeah. And was it always forward then for you, or how did you find your place at the top of the attack?
Yeah, I don't know. People always ask me what was the first position you played, and I can't remember playing any other position aside from forward. So it's kind of what I've always been,
Mhm.
and hopefully what I'll always be. But I'm open to playing whatever position they need me. I have a feeling it'll be forward though.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be forward. So you accomplished your goal of playing collegiately. You accomplished your goal of playing professionally. So what are the goals heading moving forward with your professional career?
Yeah, I always try to remind myself that the most important thing to me is staying happy, safe, and healthy. And that's what I'll be going into Kansas City focusing on. But I don't really have any specific goals going into this season. I kind of just want to play it by ear and do what I can without putting too much pressure on myself. So I'm going to go in there, put my best foot forward, and obviously do whatever I can to help this team win.
Yeah. I mean, you said that your family's very athletically gifted. How have you used that to kind of pick their brains about how they went through things, how they handled, different like injuries and things like that?
Yeah. So when I first undergone my first ACL surgery back home in Green Bay, my dad had played in the league,
Hmm.
NFL wise, not soccer,
Yeah.
but he had undergone injuries throughout his career. And I was just super down when I got injured, and I had never really experienced an injury that took me out of the game for so long. But my dad had, and he reminded me of that and just told me that everything was going to be okay as long as I continued to put the same effort into my rehab as I did my training. And so that's kind of just the mindset and the motto that I went through both my injuries with. And I knew that if I put that best foot forward, like I do in all of my soccer training and just day in and day out, that I would recover and be just fine. So that's kind of the motto that my dad stuck into my head, and it
Hmm.
definitely helped me both times. So I think that I learned a lot from him.
I mean, how exciting is it to have two pros in the family now, you and your dad?
It's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting. I know that he's super excited for me, so I'm excited to start, and I know that he'll be supporting from wherever he's at.
So when does it start? Just when do you head down to Kansas City, and when does training really get going?
Yeah, so I'm going down there a little bit early. We don't have to report until February 1st.
Hmm.
That's when preseason starts, but I kind of wanted to get moved in and get settled before that all started because, like I said, I like creating a routine and getting into the
Hmm.
swing of things. So I'm going out there on the 16th, and then preseason will start on February 1st.
Awesome. Thank you, and best of luck moving forward.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good day.
Yep, you too.